Hi everybody. It's kind of early in the morning here. My kitty cat woke me up because he was hungry. So he's been fed. Everything's cool. And one of the things I wanted to talk about today is how I started vaping, why I started vaping. And of course, the main reason was I wanted to get off cigarettes. They were getting too expensive. Of course, I was having health problems as well. But at the time I started vaping, it was around the end of 2010, early 2011, and I had just bought a carton of cigarettes, and it cost me over $60 for one carton of cigarettes, and that was just ridiculous. Single packs, even the generic ones, were pushing $6 an hour, and of course everybody knows who still smokes. They're a lot higher than that now. So I'm glad I quit when I did. And I was working security at a hospital, and the hospital started this. The hospital administration started this real strong push to ban smoking on the entire campus. You couldn't smoke, of course, in the building or anywhere on the grounds of the hospital. And prior to this, you could smoke outside. They had big ashtrays outside the every exit to the building so people could go out and smoke, visitors and staff, and even patients on some occasions. So they started this whole process gradually. First, it was patients couldn't go outside to smoke. And then they started moving the ash cans further and further away from the doors, of course. And that's understandable. You don't want smoke blowing in the door, and you don't want patients walking through a cloud of smoke every time they come in or out of the hospital. So, they put out this new anti-smoking policy, and they said in order to show that the hospital cared about health, they were going to ban smoking on the entire campus. You couldn't even go outside and sit in your car on a break to smoke. You had to go across the street. So what happened was we had every staff member who smoked going outside to smoke every 20 or 30 minutes, which impacted patient care, because when all the staff was outside smoking, who was taking care of the patients, right? So anyway, being a security officer, it was up to me to enforce that. And being a smoker myself, I felt conflicted about, writing up violations on employees who were going outside to smoke when I, in fact, did it myself. So I went into a gas station on the way to work one day to get some gas for my car, and I saw these little e-cig things that actually looked like a cigarette. And I asked the clerk about them, and he actually had one. He was puffing on it. And I said, "That's pretty cool." I said, "Does that stop the craving for nicotine?" He said, "Oh, yeah." He goes, "Since I've been doing this," he goes, "I haven't even wanted a cigarette." I said, "Really?" I said, "Let me try one." So I bought a pack. I think it was $20 for you get your first little e-cig with. I think it came with like 3 cartridges, and you had your little USB charger cord that went with it. So I took it home, charged it up, after I got off work, of course, and I tried it, and I was impressed. It actually looked like smoke. It I think the first ones I tried were tobacco flavor, which wasn't all that great. So I tried they also had the menthol cartridges available, so I tried those, and that was much better, much better than the tobacco flavored ones. So anyway, I did that for about a year, and I then went to the farmers market, which at the time was right across the street from where I lived. So every Saturday they had this farmers market with vendors who were setting up all kinds of odds and ends. It was like a big open air flea market basically, and they had a guy that was selling vape stuff. And of course, as I mentioned in another video, I bought my Vaporesso Target 75, and I was real impressed with that. And of course, it got me off of those little e-cig things that were starting to get expensive because the prices were going up on the cartridges as well. And I was like, "Oh man, this is almost as bad as smoking." So the bottle of e-juice was about $20 for 60 milliliters back then, and even that was much cheaper than a carton of cigarettes, and the 60 milliliter at the time would last me almost 3 weeks. So then he started coming out with bigger bottles of vape juice. You can now get a 100 milliliter bottle of vape juice for $25. So I started buying those. I started checking out vape shops, and I got more and more equipment, more coils, more tanks, better juices. There were more flavor options. So that's basically my story on how I started vaping. And I tell you what, it just keeps getting better and better. The technology gets better. It keeps improving. And now you got with mesh coils. This isn't a mesh coil, by the way, but it's one of the older tanks. I did a video on this recently. This is the Sense Blazer 200, and it has a Smock TFV 8, and this is the fill hole where it's got a good sized fill hole on each side, and the top opens up, and then you just turn it and lock it in place. So I'm surprised this thing still works. I've had it for about 3 years. And as I mentioned in the review of the Sense tank, the Smock TFV8 coils are no longer available at the shop where I normally buy my vape supplies up the street here. I'll have to check and see if I can still get them online. They might even have mesh coils for this now. They do still have the TFV8 baby coils that go in the Smock baby tank. So we'll have to see if I can still find these, because this is an awesome tank, man. I like it. It holds a lot of juice too. That's how I started vaping. I'm sure everybody has their own unique story. So hey, if you got a unique story about vaping and how you started, hey, post it in the comments. Make sure you like and subscribe to my channel. And y'all have a good one. Vape long and vape strong.